Now, you have been reached out by a founder or anyone from the startup community, and you are in your final round of interview. And suddenly, what the HR tells you or what the hiring manager tells you is, hey, the offer that we are going to give you is a 20,000 rupees per month. Plus, we will also allocate you some ESOPs. Now, for the first time, imagine you heard the word ESOPs, and you might have heard uh, people become crorepati from ESOPs. A lot of people say that, hey, ESOPs does not matter. How should you decide? First of all, let me talk about why does a company give ESOPs and what is the value of ESOPs and how you should be evaluating according to me. Now, first of all, I have worked with almost 5 to 6 companies, which are mostly startups. And in 90% of the startups I have worked in the past, I have had my significant amount of ESOPs anywhere in the range between 5 lakhs to an 80 lakhs. Now, how did I decide to go about it? And here is I want to share my story with you. First of all, when someone comes to you and tells you that, hey, we are going to give you ESOPs, first, just check which industry the company operates in. First, if the industry is large in size, so for an example, a fintech industry under finance is large in size, a real estate industry is large in size, and edtech is larger but not larger as a fintech. A B2B SaaS is large but not as large as a fintech, for an example. An astrology or an astrotech is pretty large in size. Now, if you go into that route, you'll be able to understand number one, is your company operating in an industry which is large in size? Number two, is that industry growing pretty fast? So, for an example, astrotech is growing pretty fast. Fintech and edtech was growing pretty fast in during the lockdown, and you'll be able to get some sense of it by watching news on Google. Now, if you go on Google and just simply type recent funding from fintech, you'll be able to get a sense that who are the people who got funding recently. Now, if in that industry majority of the players got funding pretty recently in last 1 year or in last 2 year, then you know that hey, VCs are thinking that this particular industry is growing rapidly, and hence you also have an idea that hey, this is growing rapidly, and hence I can take a call on the ESOP. Now, why a industry needs to grow fast for your ESOPs to make sense? Now, what is an ESOP and what does it? How does it operate? Basically, a company tells you that hey, this is the amount of ESOPs that I'm allocating to you. There is a vesting period of 1 year. If you stick in the company for 1 year, after that, you will be allocated to exercise some shares. If you exercise, you get some shares of that company. You keep on holding into that share at a much lesser price during a company's buyback time, or when a company is doing a buyback, they will buy your shares back and you will get a amount for it. Or when a company goes IPO or when a company gets acquired, your shares will get liquidated and you will get your money back, which technically means this is a long term game. If you are in the company for a short term, you are like, hey man, I don't know, I want to stay there for here for 6 months and then I might skip, or I want to go and do my MBA of sorts, then you should be saying to the HR that hey, these ESOPs will not make any sense to me because my plan is after 1 year I will be going to US for my further studies or my plans are something different. Hence, please don't give me ESOPs. Rather than ESOPs, give me something else. Maybe a performance bonus after 6 months if I perform well, or maybe a variable bonus in some or the other component. And this is how you should be looking at it, and not ki chalo theek hai. ESOPs, the company gave me this much of an amount. I don't know what does that mean. I will be only keeping on asking that hey, 20,000 is pretty less. Can you make it 25,000? Because every one of us do understand what is the in hand salary we get. We as people do not understand what is the importance of ESOPs, performance bonus, variable bonus, and all. Now, the part two side. If you got a faith that hey, this company is growing at a massive scale, this company has a interesting moat, the USP is great, the founders are pretty great, and I want to stick in for a longer time, that is the time you should decide that the ESOP is gonna make sense. Which means after 1 year, when your appraisals are happening, the company will come to you and tell you that, hey, do you want a raise in your CTC, the absolute amount, or do you want us to allocate you more ESOPs and shares? Now, this is a very tricky area. You only know what is happening inside the company, what are the future plans, how is the fundraising looking like, and stuff. if you see everything is going towards a positive direction, in my opinion, you might ask that, hey, give me a 5% raise, a 5% appraisal on my enhanced CTC, and give me a significant amount of ESOP allocated to me. And that's how you are able to take a call. And don't just again rely on that, hey, I need a 50% CTC increment and nothing of sorts anymore. So this is how slowly and slowly you become mature and you understand how ESOPs work, how you should be evaluating and stuff. But the most crucial part and the synopsis of this whole video is: number one, understand the industry. The industry should be growing at a pretty rapid scale. Number two, understand your founder and the pedigree. The founder should be a solid founder. You might be in a great industry and the founder is clueless. That company will not grow pretty solid. Number three, good VCs should be backing up. If good VCs are backing up, the chances of your company to grow in a pretty rapid scale and get liquidated or get into IPO is very, 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 very fast. Number four, check the retention rate. This is a point that I missed out, but I want to call it out again. Check the retention rate, which practically means that how many people are sticking with the company. Now, you might say that before joining a company, I don't have this idea, which is absolutely fine. Do not check the retention rate. Go ahead on Google, Amazon, wherever you are able to find, and check the customer reviews. If the customer reviews is extremely bad, then that means the product is bad. And if the product is bad, and you see that the product has been getting a lot of negative reviews since a longer time, that practically means that the founders and the founding team is not caring a lot about the customer feedback, and it will be very, very hard for the company to scale. Like, trust me, I have been in those places where great founders, great company, great industry, product is super bad, super average product. No one gives a shit about the product, what is happening with the customers and everything. And the company is eventually not able to grow because your marketing will not be able to push a bad product. No matter whoever is in the marketing team, he can be the best of the best. So take your calls accordingly and share this video with someone who is getting into a startup or is a fresher. This might help with them. Thank you.